Hi guys and welcome. So I wanted to do a video following up a bit on what I shared in the last video about the message I got that it has started and what we are moving into as a collective and what we are being asked to embody more of and do going forward. I have been receiving messages and been shown things that are happening energetically, or that has been happening energetically over the last month. And as we know, everything happens energetically before it manifests into the physical. And I've been guided not to share the specifics of it. And then last Friday I received a message that it has started, and now this week I got very specific guidance on what to share about this now. And as always, take what resonates and leave the rest. This is messages I've been receiving from a group of blue beings that I channel, and also from some other guides of mine. It is from a higher perspective, so always keep that in mind, that no matter what it is you're listening to or hearing, it's always a perspective. No matter how high frequency what I mention it comes from, it's always a perspective. So never give your power away to anything. Always use the information as bits and pieces that you can use, and tools to help you as you move forward in an empowered state. It's really important. And I know I've been saying this before, and I will probably say it 1,000 times more, because empowerment is probably the most important thing moving forward. If we are giving our power away, no matter how that looks, it's going to be very, very sort of in our faces. And it really has been for a while for many, and that will only increase going forward. Because the only way we can create the new, the only way we can assist others around us, the only way we can really be in our truth, in our authenticity, is by being empowered, being sovereign, being grounded and embodied. So every aspect of your life, really remind yourself of that, and become really aware when you're giving your power away. That can be through blaming, that can be through just not trusting yourself and just trusting blindly whoever. It can be judging, it can be like, there's all these ways we can give our powers away, and it will feel more and more uneasy in our bodies when we are in the pattern of giving our power away. So we are really getting help with the energies now, because we are ready, and it has started. What they have told me is that it is the fall of the old paradigm. And I'm sure many of you will think that, yeah, but that really has started a while ago. And yes, it has. In many ways, it has. There has been preparations. A lot has happened energetically. A lot of inner work. A lot of changes and shifts. So it really has been going on for a while. What they mean by saying this is that now it's going to happen more in the physical. It's picking up, and we are going to be asked to step into our empowered state, into our truth, into our light, into the new versions of ourselves, more and more and more. And it will be really challenging, uncomfortable, being in those old patterns, because it's really important now that we just go with our inspiration, that we trust our own guidance, that we speak our truth from that frequency and resonance of our heart, that we stay in our own lane, and that we really bring that light in. We really embody more and more of our higher self, of our light, of the consciousness that we are, and that we're beaming this out from our bodies. Because what I have said to me is that the new paradigm is arising through chaos. So what I've been shown is that there will be more and more intense in the collective. It will look like it's getting worse. There will be, I've been shown, normally with these messages, I've been taken to sort of the same setting every day, and I've been showing me on a screen scenes and things happening, reactions, and there's a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, and it's going to really come out. What is really important for us in this period is to stay grounded, to stay in our own lane, to speak our truth, and to respect others' sovereignty. If we go in and try to change others, or if we go back into the fear pattern, we are not helping, because that's meeting it with the same frequency. So what I've been shown is that the best way we can help people is to ground the light under their feet, to assist them in grounding into their own truth, into their own being. It's not of telling them, like, you have to believe this, you have to do like this, you should do this or this thing, you should, because that's our truth being put onto them. No matter what perspective it is, no matter how right or how much sense and how sure and grounded you are in your truth, the only way we can help others in a state of chaos, in a state of uncertainty, in a state of anger, frustration, a lot of fear, is to guide them back home to themselves. Because that's the state where they can find their own groundedness, where they can become aware of their empowerment. That's the state they can create from. And trying to control others often, if not always, comes from some sort of a fear. And it's really important now that even though you're labeling yourself as awakened or way shower or all these labels we so often put on it, that even though it comes from a good intention, even though we really want to help, even though we see people struggling and we just really want to do what we think is the best for them, it's always our own perspective. If we can ground them in their own light, we can ground them onto the earth, into their own truth, and we can be there, we can answer questions when we get the questions. But it has to come from their own empowerment. I've been shown that this can be challenging for a lot of us as we're moving forward because of the intensity. But it is really what will be the most helpful. And when we are staying in our own lane, when we are really working to clear whatever comes up, changing our beliefs when they need to be adjusted, because they will continue to be adjusted. When we really connect more into our heart, we connect more into our intuition, because that's where we are being asked and guided to come from as we are moving forward, not so much from our minds. And we stay in that empowerment and we shine that out. That's a very, very different energy. It's an energy that reaches far more out. It's an energy that and frequency that can inspire others to change, rather than coming from a judgmental point of view. You're doing it wrong, you should look into this, you're so stupid believing in this. All those kinds of ways of judging, or even when it comes from a good intention of changing someone, is really not going to help them. That's really, really important. They just keep saying, keeps telling it, say the same thing again. So it's really, really important. Coming back to ourselves, embodying more of our higher selves, and dare to step into what you're being asked to do. A lot of us will experience being asked to really step into new versions of ourselves. That means we have to maybe look into some of our fears, some of our insecurities, where we're giving our power away still, even though we're quite aware of a lot of it. It means we have to take the leap sometimes, to really trust, and that can be challenging. When we are in that situation, it's also very easy to be distracted by what's going on in the external, and then want to change that because that will make us feel more safe. But the more we can stay in our own lane, coming back to our empowerment, trusting, talking our truth, standing in it, honoring our own truth, and just focus on being, embodying that energy. That energy is what will shift the most. And that's the energy we want to create from. What I've been shown is, I have to look at some of my notes here, that when we sort of see like just chaos, right? People running around, and there's a lot of there's chaos, and there's disbelief, and there's fear, and there's all of these things, and it looks very chaotic. They told me that the perspective you hold is so important, because if you just look at it, it will look like everything is getting worse. If you look at it from an energetic point of view, you can see that there's a lot in our societies that are structured with fear. Everything is building on fear. Our patterns, the way we, just like the schooling system, the way we are punishing ourselves and being afraid of doing mistakes. We are controlling because we are in fear. We are, all these types of patterns. And looking for things externally rather than going within and learning to trust that, and learn to feel emotions, all these types of things. When this structure based on fear is breaking apart, it looks chaotic. This is just because it's falling apart. And what I said, that you can see this either as everything being just moving without any, just everything being really messy and chaotic, and you don't understand it, and it can create a lot of fear. Or you can see that now these structures that has held this paradigm in place is actually breaking apart, If we stay in our bodies, we beam this light out, we stand in our truth, and we start creating from an empowered state. We start doing what we're asked to do. We start acting on inspiration. We start to rest when we need to rest, to ground in. We start opening up. In that energy, what will happen with all of this that has broken apart is that it will start vibrating, and it will start sort of looking for new connections. And what I saw in the way the energy was moving is that this will start moving into a coherence. But it will look really chaotic while it's going on. But as this is starting to vibrate differently, there will be new connections. And that's why it's so important that we really hold that light and we really dare to step out there. Do you say what is your truth without the energy of putting it onto someone, but really just because this is my truth, this is how I am, this is what I'm being asked to do, because that will help getting things in place quicker. And it will also help the others while they're in this state of uncertainty. And so they said that just really become aware also of how much the perspective and the perception you hold has to say for the way you see it while it's going on, because it's really just a game. Look at it as a game instead of being drawn into it, because it's so easy to get drawn into it, and there will be so many opportunities for distractions, as we have already been seeing. And I shared in, I think it was back in November, in a video about 2021 to 2024, that 2022 is a year of coming together. And they showed me this in all of this that I've been talking about now as well, that when this is happening and going through this process that we will be going through the rest of this year, it leads up to the coming together in 2022. There will be a lot of new connections. There will be, and this has to do with this structure starting to fit in. And that's also why some people are being asked to relocate, why people are being asked to step into new ways of showing up. And it can be challenging. I've been experiencing this myself the last week. I have had a lot of dragons around me, and every time I either go into a pattern of holding myself back, giving my power away, or feeling like an insecurity, or I don't know, if maybe I'm not able to do this, or like start questioning in that sense, it's like the dragons are showing up and they're like right in my face. And they make me get really clear on that this is an old pattern. This is something I can choose to step out of. It's not the truth. So it's like you don't even get a break now, it feels like. It's just like keep going, keep going, keep going. Take the next step, take the next step. With so much love and so much support, but there's no extra patience anymore. It's just like now it's the time. It has started. It's time. Just keep going. This is an old program. This is an old pattern. This is a belief that doesn't serve you anymore. Is this the truth, or is it only a belief you have about yourself? It's time to change it and keep going. Like it's just constant now. And they just keep sharing. I'm like, I've told that. I've said it like 1,000 times now. That it's about staying in your body. It's about grounding in, and it's about daring to make those steps. Even though it will be challenging, even though it will look like chaos, even though it's going to look intense. To remember every time we get bit drawn into that fear, to remember that this is what is clearing. This is now, it's actually falling apart physically. It looks intense, but the energy underneath it is falling into a better pattern. Really remember that. And remember that when you are in the state of creating something, that you have to know that it has shifted. We have such a potential now to shift really quickly, because the frequency and the energy is different, and we hold more light in our bodies. So remembering that it has shifted, and that old limiting beliefs they don't apply anymore, if you so choose. We have to choose. We have to have the awareness. We have to consciously take the step. We have to consciously create from an empowered state. When we are not in that state, if you feel some sort of despair, fear, like I didn't expect this to happen, I don't know what to do, I just need this to change, sort of that sort of vibration, wait until it settles. Feel the emotions, ground in, do what you need, nurture yourself, really fill up your own cup every single day as we're going forward. And stay in that, honor that, and don't create from that energy. Just let it move through you, and then when you are in a more calm state, you feel more grounded, you feel more in your body again, then you start creating. Not making decisions from that despair or anger or frustration or sort of desperation. It's so important to be aware of what frequency we are coming from, and also when we look at things outside of ourselves, to see the energy and frequency that is coming from, because it's really the energy underneath things we need to understand. And really know, when you're doubting yourself, really know that it has shifted. You can choose the new. It is there. It is here already. But we have to choose it over and over and over again. For example, the old belief that I absolutely have held in my life is that everything needs to be a struggle. Otherwise I don't deserve it, or otherwise it won't look like I've been putting in the work, and that creates so much stress, so much restriction, so many limitations, and we don't need it anymore. But of course, every single time that old belief comes up, or I'm doing something that reflects that belief, or I'm thinking of something and it reflects that belief, I have to remind myself that that's the old, and I can actually step into the new now. The same with spontaneous, instant changes in the physical body, in healing, is becoming more and more accessible. It has always been there, because we have that natural ability to heal in the body. But it's much more accessible now, because of the energy we hold in our bodies and because of the frequency held on the earth plane. But we have to remind ourselves over and over again, this is reflecting that old belief. I'm changing it over and over again, no matter how many times it might be throughout the day. And keep taking the steps forward into what you're being guided to, into what you're being asked to do. And remember to hold our sovereign field and to respect others' sovereign field, no matter what choices they make, no matter how they're perceiving things. because that's how we help, that's how we assist. And with joy. Bring laughter, bring joy, bring that lightheartedness into what you're doing and what you're creating, and stay in that acceptance of yourself when it's challenging. And just keep going, because it's really happening and it's available. Choose. They keep saying choose, just choose. You have the choice. You can choose. It's available. And sometimes we have to choose over and over and over and over again. But yeah, I think that was I'm just checking my notes. Yes, yeah, resettling, assist resettling others in their own field. Really honor others, yeah, all the time. And perceived chaos through fear is simply the change. Much needed change. I hope this is helpful for you. Please share if you resonate with this message, if you know someone who can have help from it. I would love to hear in the comments how you are experiencing things, if it resonates, if there's something that does not make sense to you. Of course, ask if something is unclear, but if it's something that doesn't resonate or doesn't apply to you, you just leave it, as always. Believe in you. That's where all your strength is. It's in you and it's available. I am really happy you're here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and keep going. Bye bye.